welcome to my channel. I'm Andre and welcome to my kitchen and welcome to how I make my bread. So this has been a highly requested video. I've probably shown it in my vlogs before, but I've also had a lot of requests on my Instagram to show how I make my bread and how I make my olive bread. But before we get into all of that, I invite you to subscribe if you haven't already. Once you're there, you can ding-a-ling my bell, which will remind you every time I upload a video, and then you have the choice to watch or not, because I upload a variety of videos, not just baking, everyday vlogs, luxury, and basically your everyday magazine. So I'm going to make two different types of bread today. I'm going to make my basic bread, and then my flavoured bread is what I'm going to do today. So my flavoured bread, I like to flavour it with olives. This is not an agliobita, which is entirely different, which I've also shown before on the vlogs how to make. This is basically a bread flavoured with olives or whatever you like to flavour your bread with. I am going to be using wholemeal flour today, but you can use any flour of your choice, but we'll talk about that and how you adapt to the different flours. Let's look at the ingredients. Here are the ingredients. I'm going to be using a mixer, but you don't have to use a mixer. You can do all of this by hand. So I am using strong wholemeal flour. This is just Aldi's brand. Normally I use Allison's, but today I just picked up Aldi's. But you know, so it's any type of flour. If you wish to use white flour or wholemeal flour, the choice is yours, as long as it is strong white or strong wholemeal flour is what you're looking for. So that's the ideal type of flour for bread making, but I have used ordinary flour. So here I have 500 grams of wholemeal flour, 1 sachet of yeast, which is 7 grams. So this is the fast action dried yeast, and you just add it straight into the flour. A teaspoon of salt, olive oil, so there's 3 tablespoons of olive oil here, and 300 mils of lukewarm water. So these are my basic ingredients to make bread. That's all you need to make bread. Now when I make the flavoured bread, I then add my flavourings to these ingredients here. So I add my olives, and again with olives, if you like a lot of olives, add more olives. If you'd like less, add less. I'm also using sun-dried tomatoes, so it's just a jar of sun-dried tomatoes, and I just chop them up. For more flavouring, I like to add mint. I add coriander. These are all dried. You can use fresh if you like, and some garlic powder. If you like a crusty crust, then add a little bit of sugar, maybe a teaspoonful of sugar. Also adds a tiny bit of sweetness, but it also makes the crust crustier if you add sugar. I don't like to add sugar. Also, for both my plain bread and my flavoured bread, I like to use masticha. So I have just ground this down like so, and I'm going to use that for both the flavoured and the unflavoured. And this is what this looks like. Let's see if we can open it up. And oops, that's what that looks like. I'm going to find that, because this stuff is like gold dust for me, let me tell you. So we'll just put it away in there. And that's it. So that's your basic ingredients to make both the flavoured bread and the plain bread. So these are the ingredients for 1 loaf of bread. 500 grams of flour, 7 grams of yeast, teaspoon of salt, 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 300 mils of water makes your plain loaf. So first of all, I'm going to make my plain loaf and set it aside, let it rise. Mix together my flavoured loaf, set that aside. I'm going to re-knead my plain loaf, but not my flavoured loaf. Anyway, it's quite hard to say knead and loaf and all of that. Let's get into making the first loaf. I haven't put my oven yet to heat up, because I'm going to knead everything again, so it's too early to have the oven on just now. So I've used pitted olives, which makes life a lot easier. But if you don't have pitted olives, one of these gadgets makes life a lot easier, let me tell you. But you know, when I'm making cakes that require olives, I just always buy the pitted olives, and these were a bargain from Aldi. Right, let's get started. I've also got some non-stick baking paper as well, which I like to use under the bread as well, which stops it sticking. Bread doesn't normally stick, but just to be on the safe side, I like to use non-stick baking paper. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my 500 grams of wholemeal flour, and like I said, you can use any type of flour that you wish. I'm then going to add my 7 grams of yeast into my flour. I'm actually going to turn it on and put it on slowly, just so everything starts mixing in. I'm going to add my salt. Actually, I didn't say, I like to add pepper to my bread as well. I'm going to add my pepper because I just like to flavour everything up. I'm now going to add my sticky. About half a teaspoon for each loaf. There we go, that's in there. 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And now I'm going to add my lukewarm water. What I'm looking from this pastry now is I'm looking for a non-sticky pastry that comes right off the hook. So sometimes I need to add more flour or I need to add more water, and it's just a matter of looking at it and just getting the right texture from the bread. So if you're using a white bread, you know, you might need less water or this, that, but you start off with these basic ingredients and then adapt it from there. So we'll see how this goes now. See how well it comes together and if we need to add anything else. So I'm going to go in now and just get a feel for what it feels like, because this is, you really need to get really hands-on with bread to know if it needs more of anything. And you'll find with wholemeal bread it's a much stiffer dough than when you are using white bread. So you see how there's no stickiness on that hook. This is what you're looking for, a nice clean hook. At the bottom here of the bowl, you can see it's picked up everything. To me, it feels just very, very slightly dry. So I'm just gonna add a little, just the tiniest bit of water into this because it's not picking everything up. What I'm looking for is a clean bowl, and that's how you know you've got the perfect dough. You get a clean hook, a clean bowl, and everything comes together. Now, if I do accidentally add too much, then I simply just add more flour, and that's all you do. This is more or less absolutely fine. You can see everything's come off the bowl nicely. It's not sticky, it's not gooey, it's just everything has come together perfectly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it out of the bowl and give it a good knead, and then basically just leave it to rise. That's all I'm going to do. So right here I have my baking sheet. I'm just going to add a little olive oil on my baking sheet. and some on my hands, and then just get the dough, and I'm just going to give it a good old-fashioned knead and see if there's anybody that's annoying you. This is the time. This is it. See how perfect that is. This, like I said, feels a lot more solid than it would if it was white bread or white flour. My bowl is nice and clean, no stickiness left, none of the pastry, none of the dough is left in there. So we just keep doing this, just giving it a good old knead. I'm not going to shape this or anything just now because I'm going to give it another knead. So that's it ready, I would say. Now I'm just gonna put some olive oil in there in the bowl. That's it. And then I'm just going to put my bread in there like so. Cover with cling film or a towel, and then just put it aside somewhere nice and warm and let it do its thing. So whilst my first bread is rising, I'm gonna now make my flavoured bread. So again, I need 500 grams of flour, again using my wholemeal flour. Just empty it into my mixing bowl, and my 7 grams of instant yeast. I just add that in there, add my salt, add my pepper, add my mint. If you like a lot of mint, add a lot of mint. If not, don't add it at all. These are all flavourings that I like in my bread and I like to add. So adding some dried coriander as well, and some garlic powder. There we go. Then I'm going to start mixing everything in, basically. Put it on. Gently. I'm going to add my mastica in as well. Add my olives. That's about a bowl full, cereal bowl full, because I like a lot of olives. And my sun-dried tomatoes. I'm just letting all that mix in. Okay, now going to add my olive oil and my lukewarm water. Now, because I've added these extra ingredients, I'm obviously going to have to add more flour, but I always like to start from my basic recipe that I have of 500 grams, because I can then judge, because you know, it depends on how many olives you use. If you're going to use drier ingredients, you might want to use nuts and things in your bread, or whatever is your favorite flavoring. So if I start by my 500 grams of my basic recipe, I then just add what I need to add. So I can already tell I'm going to need to add more flour to this because it's looking very wet. But again, I just keep adding until it becomes that nice dough where it's a non-sticky dough. now I'm going to go in with my hands and just test the dough, but I can see it coming off the hook, so it looks about ready. Let's open it up. As we can see, the hook is quite clean, comes off quite easily. This is going to be more of a wet mixture than the regular bread, but I'm going to use, instead of using olive oil like I did with the other one, what I'm going to use with this is I'm going to use flour, which is going to dry it up even more. I'll just get it all out. There we go. Out of the bowl. So as you can see, the bowl is quite clean, but like I said, this one is going to be a wetter consistency. So on my tray here, just some flour. Put some on my hands as well. There we go. And then just out of the bowl. There we go. That's what the bowl looks like. And as you can see, this is not as firm as the other one, but it feels perfect. You just know, you know, once you've made bread a few times, you just get to know exactly what it's supposed to feel like. And that's why I always start off from my basic ingredients, because I then know I can judge how the dough is supposed to feel. You know, so it doesn't really matter how many olives I add to it, because then I just adjust it all by adding more flour, and then if I end up adding more flour, I just add more lukewarm water to the mixture. And what you're looking for is, you don't want your dough sticking to the base here. If it's sticking, you just add more flour to it. So this one, I'm going to shape it and then just let it rise, and that's it. So, and bake the two together. So I don't need this one twice. I'm not going to knock the air out of this one like I'm going to do with the other one. So there's my dough. Get my baking paper, put it down, and then I'm going to simply shape my bread. And what happens with this bread, it tends to spread out this way because I don't put it in a tin. Put it in a tin, it's going to hold its shape better and it's going to rise better. But because I tend not to put it in a tin, I'm just going to put my other loaf next to it here. You'll see it is going to spread out. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is, and I'm just going to put some little lines down the side of it, like so. I'm going to get some olive oil and I'm just going to spread some onto the bread, and you can do this with your regular bread as well. Just put some around it like so, reshape it, and then just sprinkle some sesame seeds onto the bread. There we go. And Bob's your uncle, people. That's it there. Just gonna leave it now until the other one rises and re-rises, and then just bake it in the oven. That's my other loaf so far, rising well. There we go. And the bowl feels actually quite warm as well. I'm gonna go and put cling film on the other one as well, which I forgot to do. Okay, here we go so far. As we can see, this has definitely risen. And as I said, this doesn't go so much up the way, but I mean, look at it. It's definitely gone out the way. So I'm just going to knead this one more time, let it rise again, and then bake it. Okay, that's the bread ready to go into the oven. And remember to take off the foil. There we go. Beautiful. And then I'm just going to put it at 220 for about 40 minutes. Okay, here are the final breads. We have the olive one here, the plain one here, and the way you can tell that they're cooked I've just burnt my fingers doing that, is by tapping the bottom and it sounds hollow. So there we go. Breads are complete. And let me tell you, they smell amazing. And I'll be pulling a piece of that because I love it when it's nice. So the knife is out already. Can you hear that? That's that hollow sound. Oh my goodness, I can't wait. I need to just cut just maybe a bit of heat. You really should let the bread cool because bread will seem a bit doughy if you cut it when it's too hot. Woohoo! Beautiful. Just perfect. Have to try it. But remember, if you do cut into it, it almost looks, no, it's just perfect. A bit doughy, but it's not. It's so good. So if you would like to see more videos from me, I'm gonna link one here, and if you're not already subscribed, just press the A right here, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Cheers.